these articles, and then we're going to talk about those today. So maybe zoom in on these two papers, and I will talk about it in my commentary, and then we'll go from there. Right, and you can just start. Is it start now? Okay. Today we're gonna conduct a discussion in my AP Biology class concerning your immune system is made, not born, to see the opinions my students have developed as we have been discussing the immune system. And I also want to talk to them about the controversy of vaccines, and especially the anti-vaccine movement that has been taking part in the U.S. lately, that is posing huge dangers to diseases that used to be thought of as almost eradicated, but that are now having a big comeback. If you don't mind, we'll just stop at this point. You have had a moment to read both of these articles, one concerning your immune system is made, not born, and the other one concerning anti-vaccine movement may have led to the chickenpox outbreak in North Carolina. And I would like to have a discussion with you to see what your opinions are about this. And I want to keep you comfortable because I know discussions are not necessarily a favorite from students. Would you like to stay at your lab tables, or do you want to huddle together and just make like a open discussion type ring format?
I'm happy here.
Skylar's happy there? Alright, we want to keep the student happy, so that's fine. You can stay where you at. I'm probably just going to pull a stool right in here. Sorry. Didn't mean to make you fall down, Deja. And I'm just going to sit over here. So if you don't mind, go ahead and pull out the your immune system is made, it's not born. It's the one that's also being projected. And you may even have it pulled up on your electronic device. So as you read this article, what are you thinking about it? Do you agree that the immune system is made or not born? So what are your thoughts on this?
I partially agree that your immune system is made, not born. Can you partially agree? I mean, you do. You're born with an immune system to some things, like your natural immune system. Like when your eyes water when you get something in it. Is that a natural immunity? I think.
So she's talking about a natural immune system. I'm just going to cut you off just 1 second. Does anybody remember the scientific name?
Innate.
Very good.
Innate immune system. But mostly your immune system comes from you kind of just living your life, and you just build up over the time. So it's kind of half and half to me.
Okay. What do y'all think about Alyssa's opinion there?
I kind of agree with her that it could kind of be both, because I remember a couple of days ago, Skylar said something about her aunt or something not getting sick because she works around the flu all the time, so her immune system is like built up like an immunity toward like a lot of sicknesses that we would usually get sick towards. But I did a presentation, my presentation was on type 1 diabetes, and there's no way that you can protect yourself from it. You're just born with it. So I kind of agree with Alyssa.
Okay. Anybody else? All right, then I'm going to just pick on somebody. Deja, I'm going to pick on you. What do you think about it?
I agree with Alyssa and Megan. I definitely think the immune system is made, not born, because, like, for instance, vaccines. The reason vaccines are when you add a more benign, more less dangerous version of the virus, you insert it to yourself, and that's how people. That's one of the ways your immune system is built up. You just encounter things, and you build up immunity for them.
Okay, thank you. And she's absolutely right. You just recently did a lab on that, the pathogen, antibody, and vaccine lab, and you were talking about how vaccines can help your body create an immunity. So if I allude back to the lab in which y'all created those antigens and y'all made some antibodies out of clay, how does your body do that? Can somebody more specifically remind me on that? How does your body get a vaccine and then from that just knows how to fight off a disease in the future? I mean, how does that work?
Because it has a memory cell.
Okay, so what about memory cells?
It's like when you get a disease or anything, then your body knows what that disease is, so next time you get it, it'll fight it off.
It remembers like the what is it called,
What are these jewels on top of the balls? The balls are the pathogens.
the antigens, yeah.
Yes, and the little stickers you'll put on top, those were the antigens. Very good, and then you'll make the specific antibodies. So what in specific does the memory cell produce? It doesn't produce more pathogens and antigens or antibodies, or what do they do? Very good. That produce those antibodies that are specific to those particular antigens from those pathogens such as pertussis that y'all work with. Very good. So Bree, you stated that vaccines help your body make memory cells. So having said that, coming back to the article, would you agree that your immune system is made and not born, or disagree?
I agree that it's made because you're not born with fighting off every disease. You have to get exposed to it in order to fight it off.
Very interesting. Thank you. So having introduced the topic of vaccines, that was yet another article I asked you to read this morning. I know, I'm sorry, so many words. Ravion, if you don't mind, what is the title of that article again?
Wait, it's in here somewhere. Anti-vaccine movement may have led to chickenpox outbreak in North Carolina.
Okay, so after reading the article, what do you think on this?
I think that you should get vaccinated because school is a pretty filthy place in terms of diseases because there are hundreds of kids spreading them around and vaccines can't help that.
More specifically, how do you think they can help?
Because the vaccines they make the memory cells out help you get antibodies to fight specific diseases. So if one disease is spreading around and you have antibodies that can help defend against it, it will do its job and defend against it, so you won't get sick as easily.
Okay, thank you. I think Rachel, you had your hand up.
On what Ravion has talked about, I've been on the CDC website before, and I've looked at what is in the vaccines and all. And the flu vaccine has things that I'm allergic to, like egg proteins and all, which has happened recently. And I can't get the flu vaccine, so I can't get that. Now, I do agree that you should get vaccinated, but I can't get that.
So what do you typically have to do, Rachel?
I just can't get it, the vaccine. I have been getting the spray vaccine, which is not a live version, but I've started getting sinus infections recently.
Can you elaborate on the spray vaccine a little bit?
It doesn't have proteins in it, like egg fat protein,
And where do they spray it?
up my nose.
Spray it up your nose.
Yes.
So you feel like that's not as effective as the one that they actually inject, the vegan version?
It's
The disease?
effective, but since I've had sinus infections, they can't get it here recently.
Okay. Thank you very much, Lexi.
Of course, I feel like that makes it even more important for the part of the population that can take it to take it, because you need to be able to build up the herd immunity against it in order for you to be safe personally.
Very nice. She's looking out for you. There's our lawyer again. So she made an interesting point. So the majority that can actually take the vaccine ought to take it, right? They should feel obligated to take it. So they put people that can because they may have a egg intolerance or an allergic reaction to it and cannot have the vaccine, since they cannot get it, that there is not a high risk of them contracting the disease. So coming back to this article, what's going on? I think that was specifically in North Carolina. So what's happening in North Carolina?
They're not doing it because of like some religious views, and some people just don't want their kids to get it because of maybe bad side effects and stuff.
Okay, so what do y'all think about that? There are two things that came up, religion and side effects. So who may want to talk about that part? Corey, come on. What do you think? You can either pick religion or side effects as far as vaccines. What comes to mind after you read the article about the outbreak in Carolina, because people are just thinking they don't need to get vaccinated anymore?
I think if I read it correctly, it's a private school, so I'm not sure how that worked. But in a public school, I think even if it's a religious thing, if your child puts other people at risk, then there should be something done about that. But this was a private school, so I know it works different that way.
So do you think we should separate the school and the religious belief just to keep students safe? Is that what you're suggesting?
Because there's a bunch of religious beliefs that call for crazy things. So.
Okay. All right. Abby, would you like to add something to that?
I think even though that there is side effects for vaccines, you should still get them because the pros outweigh the cons. So like you're more likely to be like you're more likely not to get a side effect than you are to get a side effect. So
Okay. Colin would like to say something?
I have never taken the flu vaccine, but the one time I had the flu, I was sick for like 2 weeks just because my body didn't have the memory cells to fight it off. But ever since I had the flu, I haven't had it again just because my body's immune to it and I don't get sick too often. So.
Okay. Sounds like Colin has a pretty good immune system. Alyssa?
Actually, going off of the flu vaccine, I normally got the flu vaccine like once a year, like normal. And 2 years ago, I got it, and then I got the flu twice in the same year because it was just like when they found a new strand. I got it later that year, and I haven't taken it in 2 years, the flu vaccine, and I haven't had the flu since. I don't know, like just me stopping taking the flu vaccine, I haven't gotten it. I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but.
Okay, interesting it is. What do you think? Y'all think it has something to do with it?
Well, I've had a similar situation, except sort of the opposite. My family all had it, and I had gotten the flu vaccine because, you know, it was required for the school that year. And whenever I did get the flu vaccine versus some of my other family members who didn't, they all got it and got the rest of them sick, and I never got sick off of it. So I guess it would have something to do with it. Maybe one of the side effects, maybe your body's affected a bit differently by it.
I feel like everybody's immune system is different. Like we're back to the other article. Some people might have an immune system that is more made than someone who has one that they're just born with. So I think it just is more of like a case-to-case thing, is what it sounds like.
Okay, so you think that some people genetically are predisposed to have a weaker immune system versus somebody who just kind of like survive with the sickest, some just have a better immune system versus others that are less likely to get sick?
A lot of that's based off like your life habits and what you've been exposed to. I know right here it says what was published in the January 15th in the Cell article. It says that habits and experience shape our body's defenses more than the DNA passed down from our parents. So a lot of it's just based off your life experiences and prior
Or what you
infections.
live around. So
I do live with a nurse, so that
Do y'all remember I'm sorry, Colin, go ahead.
So I think in Alyssa's case, whenever she got the vaccine and she got sick, and then when she didn't do it, I think that when she got the vaccine, her body had the memory cells, but something happened, and they didn't produce enough when she actually came in contact with it, and her body was like, just won't produce enough, and she just got sick.
Okay, so Colin is making an interesting point. So we talked about the primary immune response and the secondary immune response, and there is a slide in your textbook that kind of tries to show, I might hit the lights for just a second, that kind of tries to show the difference. And I think that's what he was alluding to, because he said something about, well, her body somehow got, the flu viral particles in the body, and something about, the body wasn't able to produce enough antibodies that quickly. So what type of immune response do y'all think Alyssa's body went through? A primary or a secondary, or what do y'all think?
It sounds like a primary.
Primary.
So the primary would be this one, or that one. So what is making you feel like it's the primary one? Rachel, say that out one more time.
It wasn't like fast.
It didn't have enough. It didn't do it like make enough antibodies the first time, and then whenever now she has it again, the second part of it would be her secondary. Where now when she has it again, she doesn't have it as long and or won't even notice any symptoms because her body can handle it.
Okay, very good. So back to Bree earlier, who talked about the memory cells. On this graph, you can see very nice and very just explained it. The second time you're exposed to a specific pathogen that you have previously encountered, the memory cells, right? Our B cells very quickly produce a lot of antibodies very fast, so therefore you may not actually experience symptoms as drastically as if you have never had the disease before. Okay? Very good. So, let me see here. One day, y'all are going to be parents. Hopefully in the far future, right? We're going to take care of our academics and everything that is that you want to do first. But once you're ready and you have your own family and you have children and you're a parent, how do you feel about vaccinating your own child? Is that something you feel comfortable doing? Or are you gonna try to be like the people in, I keep forgetting, in North Carolina that are just kind of nervous about doing so?
So I'm gonna vaccinate my kids just because I don't want them to have to go through that.
See if they have any allergies
Well-
before I did that.
If they get sick, they get sick. I mean, you can't stop that.
And if they have any medical problems, because
Exactly.
But to be fair, you developed all of your allergies later in life. You weren't born with most of them.
True. Interesting standpoint. So Rachel is saying make sure they're not allergic to them, but how do you know? And Lexi's saying that's something that comes up as you continue your life. And just a little personal note, my son, he has taken amoxicillin several times when he was younger. It's just a common antibiotic, and he did fine. And then he got it for like the third or fourth time, and he took it for the recommended 5 days or whatever it was, and then he broke out in hives, and it was actually a severe allergic reaction. Because sometimes it takes a little while for it to build up in your body to really cause a problem. Is that what happened to you?
I developed an allergy to penicillin recently.
So now hopefully you have a little note in your chart that
Yeah.
that's very common. Anybody understand why we maybe have issues with penicillin as far as an antibiotic to fight off bacterial infections?
It comes from a fungus, doesn't it?
Yes.
Mold.
Penicillium.
Very good. And that's, I think, the reason why a lot of people tend to struggle with
A
that.
lot of people have mold allergies usually, such as she may have a mold allergy, I'm guessing. Yeah, so that would probably be why she'd be allergic to this. So, like my sister, she has 4 different types of mold allergies, and that reduces her away from 4 different types of medicines. So,
I'm allergic.
Very good.
Most everything.
Is there something else you would like to add that you can think of that I didn't see, that you want to say something? No? Yes, we're good.
Going back to the chickenpox thing and the vaccines, I'm wondering what made people think that how it could cause autism. That's one part that I don't really get.
Does somebody have an idea on how this came into the news, the autism thing concerning the vaccines?
I don't know exactly where the autism link comes in, but I know that there's a specific compound which either it contains mercury or its name implies that it contains mercury, but either way, this in the specific compound it's in, it's actually not dangerous to the body, especially not in the absolute tiny amounts that you actually take it in with the vaccine. So I think if I remember correctly, there are people that saw that ingredient and were worried about its effects, even though it was at least fairly, if not entirely, safe.
Very good. So she's hinting at the preservatives. You may have noticed sometimes when you go to the doctor, when they get the syringe and they draw up, your shot, that they have something called a multivial. And if they use a multivial, you can get several, liquids out for several different vaccinations. They have to use different preservatives than if you have a smaller vial that you only draw up one time. And you're right, there have been links that there may be metals in there, such as aluminum, that can cause Alzheimer's, or mercury, where people are concerned. So that maybe where this is coming from, but all the latest research suggests supposedly that vaccines that they are safe, and it's much better, as Abby kept saying earlier, to get the vaccine than to take the risk and potentially die. I mean, some of these diseases are very severe. Is there anybody else who would like to say something? Yes, ma'am.
I also think that you should get vaccines because the possibility of getting sick, getting really, really sick off of not being immune to the flu is much greater than the chance of getting autism or some freak thing like that, or freak something like that.
Thank you. All right, well, on this note, I would like to finish our discussion today. I appreciate your thoughts and comments, and hopefully you have taken away out of this chapter that I think we all agreed upon the fact that your immune system is made. It's all about how many diseases you may have been through and how well you interact with microbes in your gastrointestinal tract that help you, stay healthy and hopefully prevent diseases to come, and how your body has to make up a lot of memory cells in order to produce antibodies very quickly to help you recover from the disease. Thank you all so much.